Hello and thanks for joining us for our late night newscast coming to you from Arirang's news centre in Seoul. I'm Mark Broom. We start tonight with domestic politics. The ruling Saenuri Party is looking to extinguish the bitter feud within its ranks. The party has been shaken by the return of defectors who jumped ship prior to the April general election. With the opposition parties demanding a truce, key leaders from the ruling party are set to meet on Sunday to try and resolve the issue. Our Gonsoa starts us off.
The ruling Saenuri Party's chairman, Chung Jin-seok, and the chairman of the party's Innovation or Emergency Committee, Kim Hee-ok, are scheduled to hold crunch talks on Sunday morning. Chung is expected to call on Kim to return to the National Assembly and is also likely to once again apologize for pressuring Kim to accept 7 independent lawmakers back into the party, saying a delay would be an illegal act. Kim has not appeared in public since Friday, boycotting several political meetings and was said to be considering whether to step down. Party members are divided on the return of the old faces who left the party right before the April general election in which the ruling party suffered a crushing defeat. But the pro-Park Geun-hye faction, which was especially critical of the reinstatement of non-Park factionist and former floor leader Yoo Seung-min, who was at the center of the factional dispute before the election, has stepped back from its offensive. For now, at least, the pro-Park faction has put off its plan to release a statement demanding Chairman Chung Jin-seok step down. The pro-Park faction is said to be watching Chung's actions over the weekend before deciding on what to do next. The opposition parties are urging the Saenuri Party to swiftly settle its internal rift. The main opposition Minju Party of Korea says the ruling party would not treat the people the way it's doing right now if it took the public's verdict at the general election seriously. The minor opposition People's Party has expressed its regret about the ruling party's internal division. It says the infighting is preventing Parliament resolving urgent political affairs, and it accused the ruling party of betraying its pledge to the people. Gonsoa, Arirang News.
South Korea's Prime Minister has stressed the importance of solid national security, calling it a matter of survival as the two Koreas remain divided and at odds. Hwang Kyo-an made the remarks Saturday during an event at the War Memorial of Korea in Seoul. Marking South Korea's Memorial Month, the Prime Minister said years of sacrifice and pain had made it possible for the country to join the ranks of advanced nations. He expressed hope that the War Memorial could become a platform where everyone, regardless of their age or political beliefs, can stand united when it comes to the need for strengthened national security. Thomas Mayer, the man charged with murdering the British MP Jo Cox, has appeared in court in central London. When asked to state his name, the 52-year-old said, and I quote, "My name is death to traitors, freedom for Britain," end quote. He did not reply when asked to confirm his address and date of birth. Mayer will appear in court again on Monday. Mrs. Cox, who represented the opposition Labour Party, was shot and stabbed outside her constituency surgery in Birstall on Thursday. Ceremonies were held across Britain on Friday, with hundreds of members of the public and politicians coming together for a memorial for Mrs. Cox in her hometown. The International Monetary Fund has warned that a British exit from the European Union could mean the UK misses out on up to 5.6% of GDP growth by the year 2019. In its annual UK Economic Outlook, the IMF said Brexit is the largest near-term risk to the UK economy. It added that the economic effects would likely be negative and substantial. In its best scenario for Brexit, by 2019, UK GDP would be 1.4% below what it would be if the UK voted to stay in the EU. Supporters of the Leave campaign say the warning is based on flawed EU-centric models. The EU referendum will take place on Thursday. The result is expected early Friday morning UK time. That's late Friday afternoon to early evening here in Korea. Russian President Vladimir Putin has criticised the ban on Russian athletes from competing at the upcoming Rio Olympics, calling it unfair and unjust. The International Association of Athletics Federation decided not to lift the suspension imposed last November because of widespread state-sponsored doping. Putin said he will try to get the ban overturned by pressuring the International Olympic Committee. And with fewer than 50 days to go before the start of the Games, the governor of Rio de Janeiro says he is declaring an emergency because money has run out for public services. He says that the crisis could stop the state of Rio from honouring its commitment to put on the Olympics and the Paralympics. South Korea's second biggest automaker, Kia Motors, has been named one of the highest quality brands in the United States. Automotive research company Strategic Vision says Kia's Sorento mid-size crossover utility vehicle and the Sedona minivan achieved the highest scores on its total quality impact survey in their respective segments. It says owners praised the Sorento for its excellent value and premium interior design. Others gave the Sedona high marks for its innovative features, interior craftsmanship and performance. A Kia executive in the US said the awards were further proof of Kia's standing as a leader in design, quality, technology and value. The cooperative firms of Korea's 5 biggest shipbuilders have launched an alliance to better cope with the corporate restructuring taking place within the ailing industry. Hundreds of firms that supply the shipbuilders are suffering financial difficulties from the unprecedented slump in the sector. They're expected to request urgent action from the shipbuilders and the government on measures such as fair trading, minimum wages, labour quality and the reintroduction of a special admission system. The president of the alliance vowed on Saturday to raise productivity and cost competitiveness by sharing each other's strengths. Now, one of the great advantages of 3D printing is that you can perfectly customize what you're making for your user. And for the first time in Korea, doctors have successfully implanted a 3D printed heel bone into a patient suffering from a tumour. Kim Hae-sung reports.
Grey titanium sculpted using state-of-the-art 3D printing technology. As highly pressurized air is pumped into the box, you can see the implant taking shape. With a CT scan, a 3D implant design, and a laser beam to melt the titanium, a skull is created. Using conventional surgery methods, this young man would have had to wait for an unspecified amount of time to find suitable bone tissue or even have his foot amputated. But armed with a 3D printer, the medical team was able to make a heel bone for him in just 2 weeks.
The heel bone is strong enough to support the patient's weight, and it perfectly fits his anatomy, significantly lowering the possibility of a complication developing down the line.
Korea is currently leading the way in applying 3D technology and was the first country in the world to approve the use of 3D printed cranium implants for surgeries. So far this year, more than 100 3D printed implant surgeries have been performed in Korea. One such surgery was done on a 16-year-old girl who developed a tumor on her pelvis in 2015. The 3D printed pelvic bone cut the surgery time in half to 4 hours, speeding up the patient's recovery time and enabling her to walk within a week of the surgery instead of the usual 4-week period.
This is an X-ray that was taken of Miss Kang last month. You can see the ligaments have grown out and is perfectly attached to the implanted pelvic bone, meaning the surgery was a success.
As the number of successful surgeries rises, the use of 3D printing for medical applications is expected to grow even further. However, 3D printing is still in its infancy, and due to a lack of insurance policies, it is 10 times more expensive than conventional surgeries. Doctors also add that patients need to be closely monitored in case there are any unknown long-term consequences. Kim Hae-sung, Arirang News.
A team of Korean researchers has found a key element for bipolar disorder, which is known to cause severe shifts in mood and behaviour. The finding is expected to open new doors for both diagnosis and treatment. Park Se-young has the details.
Last September, a young man in Korea suffering from bipolar disorder killed his grandmother and injured his father at home. This is one of the more serious expressions of the mental illness, which is more often associated with manic episodes. There was once a limit to both diagnosis and treatment, but now a team of Korean researchers has found a key cause behind bipolar disorder. Without a specific protein, a problem occurs in nerve transmission, which leads to uncontrollable excitement or depression.
In order to transmit signals, nerve cells need to form dendritic spines. The absence of the key protein results in a dramatic change in spinal formation, causing an imbalance in signal transmission.
When the researchers removed the protein in mice, they showed manic behaviors resembling those exhibited by people with bipolar disorder.
By making the connection between the protein and bipolar disorder, we were able to create animal models. With the models, we can test various drugs and eventually create effective mood-stabilizing drugs.
The researchers added that the protein not only causes bipolar disorder, but also contributes to autism and obsessive-compulsive disorder. They expect their finding to open doors to new treatments for a variety of mental illnesses. Park Se-young, Arirang News.
Now, finally, we're going to take a look at the weekend weather. And most of the nation is under partly cloudy skies tonight. It is going to be a warm night with humidity too. The low in Seoul is only going to dip to 18 degrees Celsius. Now, forecasters were predicting earlier this week that the rainy season would start on Sunday, but it appears they may have jumped the gun somewhat. We will actually have a very warm and dry day in store on Sunday around much of the country, so get out and enjoy it before the rains actually do come. They are forecast to come from Monday. With that, let's take a look at the weather around the world. Well, those are the stories we have for you at this hour. For more of the latest, don't forget to check out the website, arirang.com/news. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Goodbye.